So, thank you everybody for coming tonight. This is our choosing the right pillow class. So, and what is the key thing at the bottom? For you. So, we're going to talk about different things. One of the issues we face nowadays is the problems we're having with our necks. And we're seeing them with issues at a rate that we've never seen them before. I'm going to talk about some of that, why that's occurring. But in order for us to really get good, solid changes, especially if we're going to the chiropractor and getting changes, is we need a support system in between the times of getting adjusted. And we spend close to a third of our life in bed, on our pillows, in various sleeping positions. Has anybody ever seen the watch a time-elapse video of people sleeping? And how much they move through the night? The flipping and the flopping and the changing the pillows and the kicking the sheets off, pulling the sheets on. There's one on YouTube of people sleeping with their dog in the bed or kids in the bed, and seeing how much people move, especially when there's other people around or dogs that you're trying to, your puppies between your legs and things like that, and trying to get comfortable. So we get into these really awkward positions. So there is perfect sleep, but we also make it hard for ourselves too, and we have habits. Habits are easy to change. Habits are never really easy to change, are they? They're always kind of hard to change a habit. And if it's when you're awake, that's one thing. If it's when you're asleep, it's even harder. So it just takes time and patience and perseverance if you are going to change some stuff with sleep. So you need the best support system you can have. So first things first, a couple of basic, and this is oversimplified, but basic things that we want to look at about a pillow. We want to be able to have support, but we have to think about the anatomy of the body and what our spines look like on the inside when we're laying down. Two basic positions we'll talk about, laying on your back and laying on your side. We're going to talk about sleeping on your stomach later, but right now these are the two main things to discuss. Your pillow has to be the right height. So if you have wider shoulders or smaller shoulders, you two people in the same bed can't have the same pillow. Does that make sense? If you have a bigger head or a smaller head, then that affects the size of your pillow. All of our own anatomy and our structures being a little bit different doesn't mean that a husband and wife potentially can have the same pillow. They typically will need something different if they have different shapes and sizes. Yes? Make sense? So looking at this, if your pillow is too high, your spine will bend and curve. Spending hours like that, not good for your neck. If you sleep on one that's neutral and just the right height, that's good. If it's too small and your head bends and curves the other way, that's not good either. And we can't be spending hours and hours and hours in the positions, putting stress on our necks all night long. So laying on your back, similar principle, but on the back we have a curve to maintain. So we want to have a curve in our neck. That's a C shape to it. It's called a lordosis. That's good. I'm going to show you some x-rays in a little bit so you understand that a little bit better. But we want it to be in that normally curved position. If a pillow is too high, same thing. You're flattening that curve if you're lifting your head up like this. And by the way, P.S., laying in bed with pillows behind your head watching television is really, really bad for you. Really bad. Okay? And if it's something that's too flat and there's no support at all, then the neck will typically sink in and flatten this way also. So if you're going to sleep on your back, you do want more of what we call a contour type pillow. And like I said, we're going to get into more details about that to come. So if everybody look at this for a second, this is one of the biggest issues we have right now. This is a normal curve. This is the skull facing that way. This is the way it should curve. You should have that C shape to it. What most of us have is a reversed curve. I've been doing this 30 years. 25 years ago, on average, when I took an x-ray, it was incredibly unusual to see a neck like this. Right now, it's incredibly unusual to see a neck like this. What's happened over the last 20 years that's completely changed everything in our environment is what?
Technology.
Technology and cell phones. So, The issues that we're seeing in young adults are not the same issues we see in people in their 70s and 80s, because they never had the experience that young adults are having. The issues that we're seeing in children are far worse than the issues we're seeing in young adults. So this is a new realm of stuff called tech neck. We do a whole class just on tech neck and how to prevent it, how to change your ergonomics at work, your posture, and all that. But I want you to understand what a big issue this is. It is not uncommon for this to lead to this. And this is a fused neck. You can see the titanium screws and rods. This is becoming a far more common surgery than ever before. So, and what typically happens is it'll start out with just maybe 1 or 2 levels, and when you fuse a vertebrae in the spine and it doesn't get to move, then the joints above it and below it are under extreme stress because they're not designed to handle the entire load of all your movement by themselves. It's supposed to be dispersed through all the joints in order for everything to function properly. This may not have any symptoms to it at all. Maybe you feel a little stiffness, but who doesn't have stiffness? Maybe you wake up every once in a while and you're having headaches. You just pop a couple of Advil. Maybe you go for a massage. Maybe your husband or wife rubs your neck for you if you're having a tightness in your neck and shoulders. There's no real symptoms to this. And then one day you wake up and it's incredible pain, and there's pain that's radiating, or the headaches have gotten so bad you can't take it anymore because it's taken literally years of irritation and malfunction in those joints, and they start to break down and the discs start to deteriorate. And I can put up x-rays of 30-year-olds whose necks look far worse than my 90-year-old patients, because this is what we're doing in our society right now, and how we're living and how we're not moving, and how we sit at desks like this for hours, and then we go, oh, let me get my phone, and I'm a little bored of being at work, so I'm just going to do a little playing, let me check my Facebook, right? Or I'm going to go home and I'm going to plop on the couch and I'm just going to relax for a little bit, watch some YouTube videos, right? And whether it's a tablet or a phone or whatever it is, we're crunching that neck and forcing those joints to go the other way. People who have this, they're not necessarily out of pain because they had that surgery. They can't hardly move their necks anymore, and they could be in agonizing pain, and then that's really it. Then it's just painkillers, and we'll try to numb you out for the rest of your life, which probably won't be very long if you're going through and trying to live a life of painkillers, right? So this is a very serious issue. I want you to understand, it doesn't have any symptoms. So what can we do? Obviously, as a chiropractor, we're changing this to this, back to this again. That's one of our goals with most of our patients nowadays, if it hasn't been completely deteriorated and broken down and destroyed, because it's been that way for 15 or 20 years already, malfunctioning the entire time. So we're trying to get it back to normal with our adjustments. Doesn't it make sense that we have to figure out some key things? So there's different types of pillows. So when we talk about the different types of pillows, there's different types of filler. There's, like I said, there's two kind of basic categories between a flat pillow and a contour pillow. We'll go into that in just a couple of minutes, but let's talk about what's inside of the pillow, because this is a big deal. There's lots of companies that are selling different things and claiming this is better and more supportive, but basically you have your basic synthetic fill. So this is the you go to the store or Walmart or where Kohl's or something, you find this $10 fluffy pillow that's pretty or whatever like that, but it's typically very cheap, inexpensive, and it's pretty soft, and it doesn't have a lot of support to it, and they don't last very long. So we could say, well, if you're going to spend $10, you're going to get what you pay for, right, in pillows. So there's cotton. Now cotton, Most of cotton advertised pillows are because there's like a cotton covering on the pillow. It's not actually filled with cotton, so you have to be very careful when you're buying a cotton pillow and make sure it's actually really got cotton inside. So that, because typically they'll say they're a cotton pillow, but they actually just have a synthetic fill inside, because it's just got a cotton cover. Doesn't mean it's a cotton filled pillow. Cotton is a little bit more expensive, for sure, if it's actually a really cotton filled pillow. But again, it doesn't last as long. It has a little bit more support than the synthetic pillow does, but it just doesn't last as long. So it might be a 20 or 30 or in that range dollar pillow, but the lifespan just isn't that much. You have memory foam, which is like this new technology came out, and we'll see a couple of Tempur-Pedics up there, and we'll have a couple that we'll show you tonight before we leave, but you can get to feel the difference in what's going on with that, and we'll talk more about those later. But they were like one of the first pillows that came out. They broke the $100 range in cost, but the key is that they lasted for like 10 years, 5 years, 7 years, whatever, different companies. But now you're not out there buying, $15, $10 pillows in 5 years, which most of us wouldn't do. We'd do the $10 pillow and we'd wear it out, and then we just get to go in another $10 pillow, and we'd start stacking the $10 pillows until we flatten them out. Some people get 3 flattened $10 pillows to support themselves, right? So the memory foam, really a great technology. The big knock on them in the past was that they were hot, because the memory foam is a heat sensitive thing that molds for you, that supports you. And to each person is different. It'll give you just that right mold, but it was a warming thing. But now there's all this cooling technology, and that's been added to them, and you can actually get a pillow that's like ice. It's cold, and you're going to get to see and feel some of that stuff when we finish up tonight. The difference of what some of these companies are doing. There's feather and down type stuff pillows. They're good. They can be a little bit expensive, on the more expensive side. They last a little bit longer than the cotton and synthetic, nowhere near as long as the memory foam, but sometimes pretty close in price depending on where you get it from. But they have, it's like this little allergy issue. Some people are allergic to the down or the feathers and stuff inside of it. They trap allergens a little bit more and can keep things in the pillow that can give you more allergy, more dust mite, things like that can get in there depending on the cover on the outside. There's latex, which is more of a rubbery type of a pillow, so that's good. They're typically pretty expensive. Again, last a good long time, but they're harder pillows. Almost, if you would think of it, it's a type of rubber, so you would imagine like a rubber ball. It's going to always bounce back. You just don't want it to do it while your head's on there, right? And they're not really adjustable to height, so you have to. And with the memory foam too, you have to have the right height pillow for your neck and your shoulders and how you sleep. We'll talk a lot more about that before we finish. Somebody's got a great music system in their car. So buckwheat, this is another, like, kind of the last few years has been gaining popularity. It's more of a natural thing inside the pillow. They're firm, they're heavy. Some people love them, but they're very much so on the expensive end. But their claim is to be something that's all natural inside. There's water pillows, much like they have water beds. The technology, again, is always trying to advance. The water beds are trying to come back and put more baffles in and things like that, but it's just not there for a support system. And they can have different covers on top of those, and they can have a water-filled pillow and then have foam around the outside of that, and all kinds of things that go on. And then there's microbead, which are just very small particles that allow you to have more of a mold to things inside. But the microbead, a little less expensive, but it's going to make like this squeaky kind of you try and roll over during the night, you can hear kind of crunch and squeak and stuff like that as you move, and that just annoys the heck out of some people during the night, or maybe some people that are sleeping next to you every time they hear it, or the squeaking and the crunching noise. So that's one of their like little negatives or takeaways. So that different types of options. So we talk about options, we're talking about hundreds of different companies that are making pillows. Hundreds. And a patient came up to me maybe 2 weeks ago and said, let's invent a pillow together. We need to invent a pillow. And I'm like, have you ever just seen the market for pillows? Like, it's ridiculous. There are so many companies with so many molds and so many, every sleep position. When I was putting the class together last night, I saw that, I shouldn't maybe even put a picture on it, it was kind of funny, but there's this like whole thing that goes over your head that you could, your face is open like right here, and it covers you. It's like this, like a bubble head thing, and you put your hands on the top, and I mean, it's the funniest thing I've ever seen. But there's not a single solitary good neck position you can possibly be in with this thing over your head, right? So there's all kinds, and there's the little neck pillows, right, that you can, for the airplane, that can help you a little bit. The only problem is the opening's in the front, and you can go like this, which is bad for your neck, right? And there's little rolls that you can put behind your head and just sleep on a roll if you lay on your back to try and support your neck. There's all kinds of stuff out there. And then there's all kinds of different molds if you're a side sleeper that you can put your arm in and it still supports you here and it goes there. And there's body pillows to sleep with. There's when my wife was pregnant a couple years back with my son, one of our friends bought us this giant like U-shaped thing that she could just lay in, and it totally triggered her claustrophobia off, and she like threw it on the floor, and I was like, this thing is awesome, like I'm gonna sleep in that. She didn't let me, but it was really comfy for the couple of minutes I tried it when she wasn't home. And I didn't want to get rid of it, but I thought it would be funny if the pregnancy pillow was on my side of the bed. So just to, we do in classes like this, I have patients who have 14, 15 pillows in their house because they've tried every kind of pillow. And I have patients that can maybe sleep on absolutely the worst pillow and get a great night's sleep. And so somewhere in there is we have to take into consideration our necks and issues that we have with our necks and things that maybe need to be fixed and corrected, and the positions that we sleep in. And we have to take into finding the right pillow. The right pillow when you have a bad neck might not be the right pillow when your neck is healthy. You might have to transition. And some people might get a pillow that they're uncomfortable with, and it might take a couple of weeks to get used to a new pillow, like an orthotic in your shoe. You don't just go buy orthotics and then wear them for 3 days straight. Your feet are going to be killing you. If they're the right type of orthotics, you have to get your feet used to that kind of support and those changes. So it takes time. So all these different, there's, like I said, contour standard or contour the two. We'll have some of those for examples for us after we're finished with this part. Different sizes for each. There's millions of different body shapes, and that's what we have to take into consideration. So there cannot be one pillow that's good for everybody. You have to find the right pillow for you, like I said in the beginning. One of the things we have to figure into consideration is how to know if the pillow is right for you. What's your sleep position? And this is difficult because some people will say, well, I sleep on my back. And then it's easy. You need a contour type pillow. Some people say, I sleep on my side. Then it's easy. You need a flatter pillow that's just going to support your head. You don't need a contour pillow pushing into your neck to try and make this C out of the side of your neck when it's supposed to be straight. But a lot of people are like, oh, these contour pillows are great, and then but my neck is killing me all the time. Yeah, because you sleep on your side, therefore sleeping on your back. Okay? And then they're like, well, what if I sleep on my back for a little while and then I go on my side? Well, they came out with different technologies, so there's like things like the Tempur-Pedic where you can have the contour in the middle and then two flat sides. So you can lay on your back and roll over on your side, and lay on your back and roll over on this side, and that helps. Some of the foams, you have to find a comfort level with the foams. This pillow I thought was a brilliant concept, but when I felt the foam, it was like a rock. And I said, well, maybe it's just going to get softer after I use it for a little while. That never happened. Like I would wake up, my ear would hurt for the entire rest of the day just from the pressure of my head on it. And I was like, I can't use this. This isn't gonna, it's never gonna be okay. So there's been changes even in stuff like that where they're trying to soften up some of the foams because they heard the complaints. Tempur-Pedic is an amazing company, and they're always like cutting edge, and they just came together with, is it Sealy, Mike? With Sealy. So they've kind of melded the two companies' information and technologies together, And they're just now starting these whole new lines of things that are coming out, where you've got the foam support and the technology in Tempur-Pedic with some of the more cooling things that Sealy was coming up with, and just really cool different types of beds. We talked about that in the mattress class last time. But we have to figure out, like I mentioned before, your body shape, your head shape, the size of your shoulders. There's no one pillow right for everybody, but I'm going to do some demonstration stuff here in a minute, but the bottom line is your bottom line too. I mean, can you afford a $150 pillow when you go to the store? Because and that's not even an expensive pillow anymore. You can get $200 and $300 pillows now. And if you're going to spend $300 on a pillow, it better be something that's going to have some durability and last a good long time, and it better be a perfect, customized fit, right? And there's companies that are being like doctors selling, like you come in and I will mold the pillow to you and customize it. Then the price goes past $300. So these things are becoming incredibly expensive. They're an investment. If you're getting adjusted, we're trying to correct your curve, and they're an investment on trying to prevent you from having surgery and get that fusion done a year from now, 5 years from now, 20 years from now, it's a great investment, because anything's better than the fusion. Okay? Once it gets to that point, we don't want to let it get to that point. So this is one thing that I have to go over with you. There is no fix. There is for this. They have, and actually Mike was cool enough today to bring a stomach sleeping pillow. But here's the deal. If your head is twisted like this for hours during the night, there is nothing good that's happening there that entire time. Anybody ever fallen asleep on the plane? Fallen asleep on the couch and wake up and go, oh. There's nothing good about that. Something bad just happened, right? Sleeping on your stomach is not good. It's never healthy. There's nothing possibly good that could possibly come from it. If you side sleep, you can keep your head in your neutral position. You can maintain that C shape. If you're laying on your back, you can keep your head in your neutral position and maintain that C shape. If anything else that's this way or twisting for hours during the night, muscles are trying to relax, you have no support left to that spine. Bad things are going to happen. Bones are going to very quietly, slowly twist out of place. The problem that we run into is we'll see patients with these issues, we start to correct them, and their main complaint is, Doc, I can't sleep on my stomach anymore. I'm like, good. They're like, no, you don't understand. It hurts when I try and sleep on my stomach. Yeah, because it's supposed to hurt when you sleep on your stomach. That's your body's way of telling you, don't sleep on your stomach. But you've gotten your body so twisted and so conditioned and moved your spine all out of place because it's gotten used to this process. It's never good. So what we try and do is teach patients to do what typically stomach sleepers have a sense of. They need to feel that safety and comfort around their solar plexus. So it's very difficult for a stomach sleeper who will never be able to sleep on their back, because this is like all exposed, so they're really uncomfortable. It's very difficult. But a stomach sleeper can sleep on their side and maybe pull a body pillow up or pull another pillow up to them, and it helps to keep them from rolling over. It's not perfect because your body knows it's there, and some people just throw it on the floor and go back on the stomach, right? Because you're asleep, kind of half asleep, whatever, and you're used to those habits, so it takes time to undo some of those bad habits. But stomach sleeping, bottom line, it's never good, okay? So, I want to get into some of your questions, and I definitely want to get some of these pillows out so we can play around and feel some of the technology. We've got 3 doctors here. We've got Mike from Mattress Firm, so I'm going to ask you just ask away, and then we'll get to play, and maybe we'll have even more questions when you get to see all these different pillows. Everybody good? Okay.
Thank you for watching our video. If you like what you saw, be sure to subscribe to our channel.
Yeah, and like us on Facebook. There's always a lot of information also on our website at rosemontchiropractic.com.